Hi. I watched the movie Before Sunrise, and I feel completely taken over and influenced by this movie. I feel like first of all, movies are so influential. The content that we consume is even more influential than our own thoughts. We think we have control over ourselves, but the things that we watch and listen to actually influence us so much more than we would like to admit. And watching the movie Before Sunrise has really slowed me down and grounded me. It made me really listen to my thoughts for a second and slow down. The movie starts off and it's this girl and this guy on a train. I'm not going to explain the entirety of it, I'm not going to bore you if you've already seen it, but the two of them lock eyes and she sits with him and they basically go on to this long, over 24-hour date type of thing. And at the beginning of the movie, it kind of feels like she's a bit of a cynic. Because she's talking about how she has a nice family, how, her parents, like anytime she said she wanted to be something, they told her, well, there's a job for that, She said, I want to draw buildings. They said, you could be an architect. She said she likes to dance. They were like, you could be a ballerina. She said she wants to help people. They said you could work for charity organizations or something. And it really bothered her that her parents were trying to make everything into like a part of the construct of society. She just wanted to be able to dream and be whimsical. And her parents were like, well, this is a job. And she didn't like that. And you look at that and you're like, your parents seem very supportive. So I don't know what is your problem. And then the other guy, he's talking about how his parents are divorced and how the dad didn't even actually want him and they would fight in front of him all the time, and how when he found out that his dad didn't want him, he thought about it for a minute and it really changed his life and his whole perspective on living. And he just started to feel like he decided to be born, like he's interrupting on the party of life that he wasn't invited to, which is really an interesting way to think about it. The writing on this movie is really cool, like the way they talk and stuff and the things that they say. I just find it so interesting. But then at some point in the movie, it starts to switch where I start to feel like the girl is more the romantic and he's more the cynic. And, she's talking about the woman and dancing and how important love is, and to have a palm reader come and read their palms and tell them about their fortune. And she feels delighted by this and she believes it uplifts her and it makes her feel good because the palm reader's talking about how she's going to be a strong woman and she's going to accomplish all these things and she's really cool. And then the guy, she's like, oh yeah, like he's still learning. And he takes offense to this. And he starts to kind of throw a little bit of a hissy fit. And he's like, don't believe everything she says. Honestly, I really, really recommend you watch the movie yourselves. Because the way that the scene is done, you can just see her annoyance on her face when the guy is just dismissing everything that the fortune teller said because she didn't say anything about him. And even like there's a writer that they found on the street. They pay him to write poetry with a word that they give, and he dismisses that too. He just dismisses everything that is whimsical, everything that is, romantic and poetic. And even when she talks about her grandmother and her grandmother's one true love, he's like, people just have romantic projections. He uses the word romantic projections, and I can see it kind of bothered her. And the whole time I'm watching this, I just feel like they're so different and yet the same, but in all the ways that seem to not fit. And yet they stick together and they fall in love throughout this movie. And there's a thing that she says, that the magic of life, and this is paraphrasing, I can't say exactly what she said because I would have to go back, but it was something like, the magic of life is people trying to understand others and trying to share with people. Even if it's not successful, who cares? Because the magic lies in trying to exchange with people, trying to create this synergy, that invisible rope that ties us all together, and trying to reach out to someone, to say what's on your mind, to feel understood, to reach out and touch and to feel caressed in return. And it just made me think about how the entire movie, they were talking about themselves to each other. And I wasn't really sure if they were connecting, but they were trying to. The whole movie is them trying to connect. And the moments when I really felt like they were truly connecting was when they were quiet. When she said that line about what the true magic of life is, he didn't even say anything in return. He just kind of looked at her and listened and let it sink in. And then they both sat there in that silence. And in a way, I felt like they understood each other. Towards the end of the film, there's a lot more moments of silence, of them just staring at each other, of truly trying to connect. Despite everything they've learned about each other, they really held each other in that moment. And I thought that was really beautiful how that was captured. There was also a conversation that they shared about how he was talking about wanting a family, wanting to be a dad, and how he's not afraid to commit, but a part of him feels like he would be an idiot to even do that, because he feels like he should focus on his career and leaving a mark on the world, and how essentially having a family, raising a kid, falling in love, committing to these things felt trivial and unnecessary, and it would stop him from leaving a mark on this world, which I resonate with that thought a lot. About how I want to have a family, I want to have children, I want to connect in that type of way and commit to a life with someone. At the same time, I want to leave a mark on this world. Feel like I truly offered something to the human race and the universe and the animals. And then she countered that. And she said she met people who focus on their works and their writing and touching people with that. And they ended up feeling very alone at the end of their life, feeling like they truly missed out on sharing with someone, connecting with someone, creating synergy with someone, building something with family, creating a family, even if it's just a family of 2. And it makes me think about how if you truly were to connect with someone, how they would remember you as clearly as they possibly can without actually being in your body. Because how could you truly ever really know yourself, even though you're with yourself 24/7 and you've been with yourself since you were a child? You don't even know who you are. And then you expect someone else to know you. But the people closest to you should know you the best, as clear as possible. And then to try and touch millions, to be seen and felt by millions, you would succeed, but it would be distorted. Like a game of telephone where you say one thing in the ear of the first person, and then by the time it gets back to you, it's just completely shifted into something completely other. And I find that very interesting. I think that's something that we should think about more. It's just food for thought. But please watch the movie and let me know what you think. No spoilers, because I haven't watched the other ones yet. But I think there's something important in these movies that we have forgotten over time. The art of connecting, of trying, of wanting to reach out and to have someone reach out to you. But yeah. I'm gonna go walk my dog. Get some of that sunlight outside. I think I covered everything I want to talk about. Yeah. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.